Why did Alexander the Great never lose a battle? Mostly because he was not Alexander the Pretty Good. He was Alexander the Great. That uh, commanders uh, at the army level tend towards the mediocre and are more often poor than they are good. When they are great, uh, it not only demonstrates a huge moral and cognitive advantage over the enemy, it immediately multiplies the effectiveness of your troops because they now know that they're not trash that's going to be used, you know, as meat shields for you running home with your tail between your legs. Um, Rather than, ancient battles were mostly, they could be very bloody in spots, but it was mostly about one side making the other side break. There's a breaking point. Uh, the main goal of every army up until the invention of the use of the mini ball in the American Civil War was to make the enemy break. Even in the American Civil War, it was mostly about making the enemy break, but you had a counter strategy of exterminating them at long range. By the time World War One comes along, it's just extermination. Okay, the men are just there so that you can launch artillery at them and mow them down with machine guns. So the job of the king of Macedonia, which would have been called Macedonia, but I'm American, and we read the Greek through the Latin, so we see a C instead of a K. Uh, Only 20% of these guys died a natural death. They were uh, either murdered or killed in battle. Alexander's father survived a battle in which his brother or cousin, who was the king, was killed. The king had to fight in the front. That's what kings did in the ancient world. Um, then Philip was not only injured but maimed many times. So Alexander knew that his job was to take the first risk and to make his army fight to keep him alive because he was the meal ticket. He gave everything away. This is the same strategy that was followed by the greatest conquerors in history. Tamerlane and Genghis Khan, they both did the same thing. All you Native American war leaders did the same thing. They didn't keep anything for themselves. They gave it away. Their job was just to get the W. And he had to convince the captains, commanders and generals on his staff the night before every battle that he had a winning plan so they could take it back to the men and get them on board. Okay, this was nothing like modern military operations. This is actually a team process where the head coach and the quarterback are the same guy, and they're in the position of the nose guard. Okay, so if you don't hurry up and help the boss out, he's dead. Okay, so this starts a cascade on the other side, whose boss is sitting in a chariot a half mile behind the lines, getting ready to watch you die. And then this guy comes up. And he would even have his musicians blow trumpets. And the trumpets were blown so that Ares, which just means war, comma, god of, could judge his performance. Okay, to him, he was a contestant getting in the ring, and he's letting heaven know you know, I want you to judge me. So this is a type of, it's psychopathic levels of confidence. By our standards today, the type of weapons we have now, you can't conduct, national level violence in this way at all. In the Falklands, they stopped letting majors lead charges after a major and a colonel got shot up in the Falklands in 1982. So it was a different world in which most of our combat athletes would look like cowards by comparison to what these men had to do to win these battles. But you win this battle, you get the prettiest girl in the enemy country. Okay? That's your prize. You get to be the richest guy in the village. You get to kill a dude that's richer than you, that's richer than your whole village combined. So he had a lot of help.